take a look and see where they try to go. It kind of feels like it's boiled down to two strats against this Elevate. Do you want to focus on trying to get the back line, or do you want to focus on trying to shred the tanks? And let's see here, Aggro, which way NRG tries to go.
I think that shredding the front line is the better way to go, at least in the early game, before they can get those tank items online, before the Stone of Gaia start coming in, the Mantle of Discords, the Spirit Robes. The Guardians are going to be doing better damage to you in the early game, but aren't going to be able to take as much punishment. And if you can put them behind, put your warrior ahead, Bellona against even two Hunters can feel unkillable at times.
Yeah, Bellona's going to be really highly prioritized here by NRG, I feel. If they know that there's going to be two warriors, Bellona would be, or two hunters, sorry. Bellona would be really, really good. He's going to stop the ADCs from going. He's going to build thorns. He's going to walk at them. Without ADC damage, these Guardian comps might not be as good as they have been before.
Elevate starting things off. They're going to be the first pick here, and I want to ask you a little bit about that as we see Osiris and Hou Yi get banned out. So
Smart.
NRG taking that focus a little bit towards Death Panther on that Hou Yi.
But this means that either Cabrakan or Athena is going to be left open here for NRG, and that's almost certainly what Elevate's going to first pick. Wouldn't mind to see a Bellona ban here from Elevate. I love this Osiris first ban. Could be a Cucullin as well. I think that's another pressure warrior that even adapting has shown that he can play this weekend that could potentially give them some problems.
And NRG will have the chance here because Elevate, since they did tank that first pick, they'll get that one, but then NRG get to take two in a row. When you're going in a situation like this where the composition is this important, it's like a razor-thin margin, would you rather have that first pick or be able to pick two back-to-back here, Mask?
First pick is almost always better, I feel, just because you can get like a really, really good pick and build your comp around it. But second pick, it can be rewarding. You just have to play it right.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you're getting the most out of it. Cucullin coming out as the ban for Elevate, so they don't want to have to deal with that. Taking two eyes towards that solo lane, a Maniac already, and NRG ban away a Moose and Cobb. They think it's these physical hunters.
So I like this idea from NRG, but in my mind, this is a high-risk, high-reward strategy. They could have gone the safer route, ban Athena, Cabrakan, and just let Elevate first pick the RTO like you know they're going to. Take the Hou Yi and the AMC on the back end. There's a lot of things that you can do there. This is really throwing a wrench in what Elevate has done all week long. Now, if Elevate can adjust, I think they may be able to end up on top, getting more than they would have from the bans that we expected from NRG, but this also has a higher chance of really just messing with Elevate entirely and putting them off their comfort zone.
I just think they're going for something different. They're trying to throw Elevate off their game. No one's done these bans against them. This is completely different. No one's gave them Athena all day. Where do they value it now? Elevate's winning without her. Do they even value her that high anymore? NRG's just trying to confuse Elevate, throw them off their game, throw them off picks and bans, and Uller Artio.
And
really
there you
good.
go, yeah.
And this tells me that NRG thinks that the next hunter up for Death Panther would have been Uller. I mean, there's no reason to pick it this high unless you think Elevate is going to be prioritizing it. Elevate's picked it for Jermaine, I believe, but that tells me that NRG thinks that Death Panther's God pool is shallow in that mid lane, and it's proven to be so far with his other picks. The Scylla was bad, and the Raijin wasn't much better. So now Elevate are kind of in a tough spot. Where are they going to go in that mid lane?
I'm not quite sure. There's a lot of hunters. Hachimon's still available. I think they're going to look to pick the Guardians, but if they don't pick a hunter soon, they're going to get another 2 banned source hunters. 4 hunters are going to be banned and 1 picked. There are a lot of good hunters, but not all of them are that A-class, S-class tier.
And they are prioritizing those Guardians, it looks like. Xing Chen already picked up for Elevate, but I love what we're seeing from NRG. Everything they've done so far has been taking away something from what makes Elevate work so well. Rom still available, and this probably is going to be going to Jermaine, so still, what's Death Panther going to be thinking about?
And there's that Serket for adapting as well, as you mentioned, Mass. Great at shredding that front line, great at pressuring the solo lane. Is RTO good? You know, we were talking about early game warriors. RTO is like the early game guardian in that solo lane, but is that enough to pressure out a Xing Chen alongside Serket?
RTO is probably the best early game guardian, just because he has, maybe not for clear, maybe not for fighting, but she can't really die once she gets that heal on. She heals herself and her teammate for so much. So I think the Ardo is a really good pick here. I'm not sure if it's going to go into solo or not. Ganesh is still up, an amazing god for shredding. I think NRG here is going to ban Nox. They don't want to deal with that. They got Serket, they have Ardo. Those 2 gods, and even Uller, no CC immunity on any of those gods. Maybe, actually, Serket does have it on her ult, but she has to be really close to someone to get it. So this actually could be very rough, so they have to make sure to get rid of that Nox.
I like that idea to get rid of Nox, and the Athena that everyone was so scared of giving to Elevate all week long hasn't even been picked yet. So you could tell that that has been a good call out basically from NRG. Could have gone for an Athena and then the Nox right afterwards. I think that could have ended up working out, but it's all about trying to keep no numbers comfortable in that solo lane with the Xing Chen.
Now they ban Gab to Energy, and I think this is where you go with it with those Guardians, at least from my personal opinion here. The Guardians they pick are also very controlling in all these compositions. That's part of why it's hard to get to those physical hunters, because they're controlling them so much. Take away that Geb, try and limit some of those options for them.
For sure, for sure. I think the Geb was to stop, Circuit, CC. If you get a Geb shield off, Circuit doesn't really do much. And also the shield for the ult. It's a really good ban here. Definitely Nox. There's no way Energy gives them Nox. And with Athena, they just didn't ban it. And look, they didn't pick it because they saw, hey, what's working with us, like, we've never picked Athena once. I don't want to throw off what we have going on here. So they don't pick it. They let it through.
Interesting. They do leave the option open for the Nox and go for the Hachiman ban instead, which could have been a strong pick for that man on your screen. Death Panther in the mid lane for Elevate. Energy a little bit more scared of what he's going to do than Dardes with the Nox. I agree. I think Nox would have been the better ban here, especially if that RTO is going into the support role for Raffer, who's really had the most success with RTO support out of anybody. It's really been most successful in the solo lane outside of what Energy likes to do with Raffer, but Maniac has played it very well as well, so it could still be going into that solo lane, though I still think that it ends up being a better composition for Energy if it's RTO in the support role for Raffer and picking something like Bellona in the solo lane.
RTO is also really good for setting up for those Uller axes. He's got a stun, a root, and he can just dash towards. He can be super aggressive with this Uller. If it goes support, that's going to be a deadly duo. And I know Jermaine and Dardes, I talk to European people, or players, sorry, and they tell me this is the best dual lane. This is one of the best supports in the game. This is one of the best ADCs in the game. They say how deadly they are and how teams draft just so they can't win lanes. So I'm interested to see how this Uller RTO does into them.
Raijin, another god that can have a lot of trouble up against Nox, gets his clear interrupted. He can silence out that dash before it ends up going off. You're a pretty easy target for that Nox ultimate, which means that you won't be doing nearly as much with your Tycho drums when you get hit by that Nox ult. I really feel like that's the best possible pick here for Elevate and support.
They were worried about that Nox, but it just feels like to me that Energy are really focusing on Death Panther. They think that he's been that sort of key for them, and I don't think that they're too off, especially when he gets that Hui. Death Panther has looked excellent, but Elevate turned their eye more towards the mid lane in those bans. They're trying to limit what Yaman can do, and he still ends up getting the Raijin, and there it is. Nox comes out there for Dardes, but on her is where they end up falling back.
I don't hate this on her pick. That's one of the more underrated mid lane hunters. He punishes mages really, really heavily in the early game because he just hits so damn hard with that passive. You throw down the speed, you throw down the pillar. All of a sudden, you're hitting for over 100 in auto in the very early stages of the game. I think that it can work out really nicely, but that is an execution heavy composition from Elevate for this Anher. Not a ton of setup for him, even with this many Guardians.
His peel is insane, though. Anher has a lot of peel in fights. It's also when he ults and that rides in his ult, he's not moving. All those spears are going to hit. He's a huge target. I think this Raiden's going to have a really rough time, especially with this Nox. I think Elevate outdrafted Energy pretty well here.
I actually agree. I mean, like I said, I think that the Hu Yi AMC ban is risky for Energy, and it was all going great. The biggest difference for me, I completely agree with you, Mask, is going for the Hachiman ban instead of the Nox.
We didn't even get a chance to talk about this, but Fafnir really making it all the way down to the very bottom of the draft. So still a strong pick here for Energy, and Elevate valuing that Nox even over the Fafnir.
I'm a little interested with Faf, though, because this Nox, he can hold him in place. Already, Faf's pretty much in place, and he's stuck. And now Nox is going to make sure he's in place for longer. So I don't think this is a good pick. I think Elevate have really, really outdrafted them. I'm interested to see what happens.
I completely agree. Now, I think Energy's playing on a higher level than Elevate is right now, and Energy might be able to just outright beat them because they're Energy. But as far as the drafts go, I think Elevate won hands down.
Well, real quick, let's get your picks here for a Mask. Who you got here, Elevate or Energy?
Elevate.
Elevate aggro?
I think I've got Energy because they've been playing too hot.
All right, well, we're split here on the desk. Let's get it over there to the casters, though. Tom and Toli, who you got?
Thank you very much, Desk. How you doing, Toli?
Pretty good. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm actually really doing fantastic, jokes aside.
This is awesome. Energy 4-0, Elevate 3-0. Somebody's going to, keep the chain going.
Really big deal. I like how you use chain. When it comes down to win for Energy, that's it. We'll see it Worlds. If it comes down to a win for Elevate, still some work to do, but we'll say goodbye to Zapman and Space Station Gaming. They'll be mathematically out of the running. But this picks and ban phase, you want to talk about how, this was the most exciting picks and ban phase around. It's really funny because, sometimes that's the boring part of the game, but me and Toli were sitting backstage with Hindu Man, a couple of coaches, a couple of players, just
What are they picking? Yeah. Like, do they ban the Guardians, the Hunters? Going for a Musenkab and Hu Yi ban, an interesting choice, taking those options from Death Panther. And that's the goal here from NRG. With those two bans alone, I'm expecting NRG to focus the mid from Elevate, not allow him to be comfortable. And this on-her pick was very spicy. I think this is the first on-her we're going to see actually all super regionals. And he's going to provide the same sort of zoning, slow control that a Hu Yi would generally do with the Suns, except it's going to be up more often.
And it's interesting because Death Panther is the Achilles heel for this team. Just straight up, the other 4 players are, I wouldn't even say more talented, but the God pool at the very least is much larger. Death Panther plays the Hu Yi and the AMC, and well, we haven't seen much else. So with those 2 bans off the top of the table, you're kind of sitting there like, and I hope you guys noticed, Coach Dazer was just sitting next to Death Panther the whole time. Like, what can you play? Because that was figured out. Elevators come to the party with their hand face up. They're saying, look, we're playing 3 Guardians and 2 Hunters, and do what you want about it. And finally, somebody did something about it.
And I think that they still got what they wanted,
yeah,
honestly. The Kabrakan first pick. Kabrakan and Artio was open. They went for the Fat Loki, and wanting to, lock people down, it makes it a little tricky for NRG with certain picks, having to go for an escape with Yaman, not electing to go for Zeus, going for the Raijin, trying to get that teleport in the dash away.
I mean, that's the thing is that when you talk about, oh, well, just ban, you can't ban, there's 30 Guardians and 50 Hunters. Like, you can't ban that out. What you have to do is pay attention to the individuals. Like we said, Death Panther's God pool has been explained to be relatively small. They being NRG, targeted specifically the 2 gods that he's played thus far, forcing him down into the on-her. But like they said on the desk, NRG, they do all this work. They do everything right in the P's and B's. And still, Tolly, I feel like Elevate got exactly what they wanted.
We'll see how the execution stacks up, though, because they're up against an NRG that's just hot on fire. They're 4-0, winning all their games thus far, and just winning with a lot of style and flair. I don't think there was many games where they were ever really realistically behind.
No, I mean, this NRG has been on, I've said it a number of times this weekend, NRG has really come back into themselves. They look really fantastic. However, Elevate on the other side are doing exactly the same. And Elevate have this, there's something else. Both of these teams have this something else going on. Where for NRG, it's just this catalyst of remember when. They have like almost nostalgia vision going on. Remember when we were so far ahead of the curve? And they're kind of feeling that. Whereas Elevate here are just kind of like on a different page.
Adapting took too much damage. It should have been Maniac that actually engaged and got the mini aggro there. And that's what's happening. Adapting, he actually zigzagged through no numbers, which means all the archers turned on him. And this is not the amount of damage you want to take as a jungler without health chalice. But expecting it, goes for a multi-potion, already out of health potions.
Meanwhile, No Number is going to try and grab some farm underneath his own tower. NRG with the full right side invade, picking up speed as well.
No Numbers did a good job, though, delaying the initial first wave clear, because now NRG can't proxy the secondary wave.
Yep. And that's a great look. No Number's really playing that smart on the right side.
And that's going to allow him to just stop the bleeding a little bit. On the flip side, however, Elevate are focusing their attentions on the duo lane. Jermaine and Dardas, the Bruise brothers, are back at it again with this Nox and Rom combination. Just being able to control the dueling, get some chipping damage off on the tower. Raffer, though, very low.
Oh, Jermaine not able to finish it just yet, but a ton of damage coming out from that dual lane combo. Mid lane as well. Yaman in trouble. Yaman going down. Cherio starting the party off the assist from Death Panther. Not done just yet. The axe is going to miss, but the blink from the jungler, pretty damn strong.
Oh,
Cherio low. The slow not good enough. Adapting, not going to catch up. The stun is hot.
Still has the speed buff, though. Emilino in a little bit of trouble, forced the beads away, but everybody from Elevate going to chase him down. Jermaine with a second kill for his team. Adapting, not able to lock down Cherio. The missed bladed arrow from Emil actually clips the on her pillar.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying, is that NRG might be really hot and have that nostalgia vision. They're running like old NRG. But Elevate are running off of pure adrenaline. This is a squad that has found their identity after over a year, they figured themselves out. And, I mean, ask the players, ask anybody you know that plays high competition, not even just Smite. When a team or a player figures out what makes them tick, that's when they're the scariest.
You cannot allow Death Panther to be this aggressive early on before the defenses from Yaman take into effect. Not having Dynasty played Helmet, the penetration from Enfeeble, the passive from on her, just does too much, especially with the red buff.
Yeah.
Elevate focused their efforts around the dual lane jungle side, stripped away the red buff from Energy, took their own red buff to allow these double hunters to get the control that they need to. Not only did they find those 2 kills early on, but look at this dual lane tower out of Energy.
Dardes from the right side, missing the stun. Nice silence, but he misses the root. And so Emilito able to get away from the damage there.
That could have been another kill considering
Yeah.
Emel's beads were still not available for another 70 seconds. A missed opportunity there. Still getting off a little bit of poke onto Emil and still just denying more gold under Energy's tier 1 tower.
Again, talking about understanding themselves as a team and as a unit, I love that Dardes plays this Nox support, and a lot of times you get these like oddball selections. You look at Obey with the Kuzenbo jungle, you look at some of the other odd selections, and they're one-offs. They're very rare. Maniac being aggressed on but walks away, right? Dardes routinely goes to the Nox support, so much so that it's banned frequently against his team. It is off meta and odd for other teams. For Elevate, Dardes would have Nox just as frequently as he has a traditional Guardian, and I love it.
Well, before I talk about this, there's going to be a little bit of action, though, with adapting, making this rotation. The defensive ult from Dardes mitigating the damage that Energy would like to do. And that's something that I wanted to touch on, was just how many options that Nox covers, both offensively and defensively. Yes, you have the silence into the root, does a lot of damage, which makes it more difficult for adapting Circuit to penetrate that backline.
But it's also a ton of control.
Yes, which is why it's almost impossible for adapting to get in there cleanly. He might have to build into Magai's Blessing to get in there. And then the second thing is, once he's done with those cooldowns, he's just going to throw a Hail Mary at the backline, targeting Yaman, making sure that those Taiko drums aren't going to obliterate Elevate.
And, you know, on top of it, that's the thing, is that Night Terror is also going to do damage reduction, right? So a lot of times when you're playing in the mid lane, it's just a big old spirit ball, right? Yep. But it's 40% damage reduction for 5 full seconds. That's a support ability.
With Yaman going into his Taiko drums, he's such an easy target. He's already moving slower than his natural base movement speed. Anyway, he's just sticking out like a sore thumb, and going yet again into this Warlock Sash build for Yaman, his damage is going to be slightly delayed, going for a more tanky option, so that 40% damage reduction is just going to be that much sweeter. And
that's, I sincerely believe that ultimate is what stopped Energy from taking that 3-on-2. I mean, Dardes just point blank shoves the ultimate right in everybody's face, and they're just doing less damage, so they can't take it. Ultimate out of adapting on top of Cherio, not likely to kill unless they get extra help. Rotation coming out from Elevate is going to send Energy back into the lane. Adapting uses the ultimate, comes up empty.
Also defensively, because he didn't want to get pulled by no numbers. Adapting blinks in. He tries to get the engage off. Wasn't doing so hot, but he couldn't really get out safely against Rage and Steel, so he had to get out of there with his ult.
Just a nice play right there. 2-on-2 still in the solo lane. Cherry about half HP. Just gonna dance for now. No real consequence.
And Maniac going for this RDO in the solo lane, not being able to run his traditional Osiris, Kakolin. Haven't really seen his Bellona quite yet either, but this is not currently the meta for Bellona, even, which is surprising considering Elevate love these double hunters. That Scourge that lasts for 2 seconds of a disarm is good enough for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't need to bring out those other selections. Cherio surrounded by Energy jerseys here, 10%. Can't find the stun on the CC immune target. Drops out the wall, but it's just not enough. Damage coming out from Death Panther through it. Will not find anybody, so Energy get themselves on the board just underneath the 7th minute. Cherio falling down.
Too many Energy jerseys are around Cherio, and that's exactly what will happen. Even with a tanky Cabraking, having his passive mitigate some damage, having Dardes throw out that Spirit Ball to mitigate even more, still not enough quite yet. There needs to be more items.
I mean, it's just bad positioning. Straight up. Cherio just makes a mistake. And for Elevate, that's the type of pickoff that I'm okay with. You're not okay with any mistake, right? But they're inevitably going to happen.
Yes.
And if you want to get picked off on the Fire Giant side of the map at 7 minutes by yourself with no jungle camps able to be stolen, that is as minimal as you get. NRG pick up a kill, good for them. But they get literally nothing but the Fire Giant, the little gremlin guys. Good. Fine. That's the mistake we want you to make, Cherio. Later on, don't do it again without the oops.
It's still better than nothing for NRG to get those elementals. If they consistently hit those, they hit these mid-harpies as well. That can be a foundation that they can build off of, but not able to really contest this aggressive on-her-Nox combination, wanting to just play a little bit safe simply because Yaman still trying to stack the Warlocks, still trying to finish the boots. And
because of that, you're going to see NRG avoid these conflicts in the middle lane. Anher's a character that does well early. You mentioned the passive and the way that the pillar is going to interact with everybody. That's the key. Death Panther wants to fight early on the Anher. Anher really peaks in the mid game. I won't say falls off late game because he's a hunter, but he's no Ho Yi. Right? So really, Death Panther wants to make use of the passive and the pillar in the early and the mid stages of the game. So NRG likely to avoid nonsense in that mid stop.
He's going to transition from that damage dealer in the mid game to a more utility hunter in the late. Just going to throw out those pillars to allow Jermaine playing the ROM to just melt targets every single time.
With that said, I mean, he's still going to crit people in the face, right? He's still going to Chinsai or whatever he builds into.
And with Dardus now probably trying to finish up that Shogun's Kusara, even more attack speed for these hunters, going for a different style as Jermaine finished off the gloves first, whereas Death Panther are going to delay it for the moment.
And, you know, that's the idea of, you know, Jermaine wants to get those stacks right up there in general, and Death Panther needs the mobility in order to avoid or rotate aggressively. Right now, the Gremlin's being fought over. Elevate going to drop the pillar, and NRG going to leash, honestly. The camp look for the kills instead. Cherio avoids the kiss, but he gets hit by the nonsense out of the ultimate, and Yaman as well. Cherio still very low. Yaman picks up the kill on the jungler, but a little bit of help from numbers. Tosses one underneath the tower, and the tower shots won't be enough here, folks. Maniac by himself in the middle lane. Death Panther can't find it.
Great rotation from Maniac. He just kept Cherio rooted in place once he used that third ability in the Druid form, not allowing the escape. Every single ability that NRG threw was absolutely necessary to 100-0 Cherio in that given moment. The wall from Cherio's Cabrakan was better this time around than the previous one, but still not enough. No numbers, unfortunately, couldn't really find. He did find the one target onto Raffer.
Yeah,
and
but he got away.
And with Death Panther even impaling him further under that deep heart of the Tier 1 tower, he was still able to jump away into safety.
Nice play coming out from Raffer there. Invade into NRG's jungle. Will not be successful, as NRG are able to chase players off there, and Emilito picks up his own red buff. So Elevate kind of missed that one, but not too big of a deal here. 10 minutes in, tied up as far as the kills are concerned. Gold relatively close as well. Just about first blood separating our two teams, but surprise, Elevate was actually the ones to get the first blood. NRG up by 500.
And Elevate are known to be the split masters here between every single split that they play between spring, summer, fall. They play against such top-tier teams between Obey, Dignitas, and NRG, and they've been known to take games off of them very easily, or at least maybe the first game, and then drop the second one once the team's figured out what they're doing. But this time, it's a best of one here. And Elevate can easily surprise NRG in the mid to late game. All it's going to take is this one team fight, and NRG are trying to make sure that they're ready for it. Building Ankile for adapting Circuit, wanting to disrupt this combination. No numbers. When he goes for the pancake flip, as soon as he hits adapting, that gets interrupted.
It's also, you know, Elevate, you were talking about how they can take games off of the top teams. That was surprising once upon a time, but it's just not surprising anymore. They are a top team now. They are one of these good guys. Looking at their performance this weekend, they have been even better here than they have been in the regular season. If you're a playoff watcher, if you just tune in for the LANs and the Super Regionals and Worlds, of course, up in January, I mean, you're sitting here and you're going, Elevate is fantastic. Totally. Elevate, for my money, has been one of the best teams here this weekend.
And just think about where Dardus and Jermaine came from. Les Myrmidons.
Les Myrmidons.
Do you remember who else was on that team?
Les Mogao.
Yes. And they started from the bottom. They're here in Super Regionals. They're about 1 game away from almost guaranteeing themselves a spot at High Res Expo.
And then sort of separate to that story, you remember where their mid laner came from? Burrito.
Oh, yeah, it was Burrito.
Death Panther was on Burrito.
And Sanguine before that.
Bottom end teams. And that's the story of Elevate, which is poetry, right? These guys, low end squads, but high end talent, just sticking it out, making it happen. Jermaine and Dardes never leaving each other. Right now, Dardes getting jumped on by adapting. This is big money damage.
Wow.
Amelito with the last hit. 4 players in Energy jersey on the left-hand side of the map. Jermaine takes to the sky. Rotation from Cherio and Death Panther going to be chased out by a rotation from Maniac as well. And Death Panther's here, but nothing he can do. Energy get a clean kill. Dardes goes down. Another Gold Fury is their choice.
Energy are done trying to target out Cherio. They go for the easier target onto Dardes. Now trying to go onto no numbers in that cripple field. The taunt is good, forcing out the ult, but he's so low.
Huge damage, and Amelito puts a 1 on that. Second kill for him.
Raffer.
Meanwhile, trouble for everybody else on Elevate. The jump forward from the big man, and there's Death Panther doing what he can, but adapting does one better, taking down Cherio. On her, dealing some damage to Maniac. Jermaine to the other side, taking him down. Big money as he's getting down to about 10%, but chased out by the threat of Yaman. Gold Fury reset, and Energy, well, it doesn't look like they're going to have the chance.
This is the early mid-game damage from those 2 hunters, hitting the same exact target. Maniac needs to be very mindful about his positioning later on. That's why he's going for this Thorns, knowing that the damage is going to be very high. He needs to try to deal with it. Going for this Height of Nemean line probably shortly after he finishes off a Voidstone. Wouldn't be surprised if we see that. And the player damage charts for Elevate's 2 hunters are through the roof right now currently.
Dardes right there. The biggest difference between this composition with the Nox support and the other options is the fact that Dardes just isn't a Guardian. And so he's just not innately as tanky as had he played literally any Guardian.
I didn't see whether or not his shell was available during that gank, but there was nowhere for him to go. Jermaine was too far away for Dardes to dash into, and that's the one escape mechanism that a Nox support could do. Even though you don't have the scaling of a natural Guardian, you have a get-out-of-jail-free card for, I think, 6 seconds or so to be able to hide into your ally.
And not able to really find that was Dardes, so he falls for the first time in this game, which is, you know, relatively small. Only 5 deaths on the side of Elevate. I don't want to say only anymore. Elevate have 2 kills, but they've suffered 5 deaths, one of which find themselves on the support, but 3 deaths for Cherio. So he's looking to turn it around. Stun onto adapting. Dardes finishes him off, all off the assist from the jungler. Yaman out of the ultimate. Elevate could reinitiate if they want. It's a 4-on-3, but Maniac's being chased down by no numbers. Meanwhile here, Raffer going to get stunned, half HP. Hunter's doing big boy damage.
Oh, the miss from Dardes, not able to connect onto anybody. Raffer's trying to jump away behind the Gold Fury. They found the initial pick, and here comes no numbers, pulling Maniac into danger. He's rooted. He's nowhere to go. That's 2 clean picks for Elevate this time.
The Hunter damage is out of control. No surprise that Jermaine's leading the charge. Gold Fury will be the target for Elevate. And although Energy snuck ahead by about a K, Elevate snatched that lead back. And they're up by just barely 500 gold.
Energy felt so confident to go for that Gold Fury. They were about 2,000 more damage away from taking the first Gold Fury of the game, but then they leashed it away, trying to engage onto Elevate, but Adapting just got absolutely blown up. Jermaine waited for the CC to happen. He got it. He threw out the snipes. Nowhere to go for the jungler out of Energy.
And Dardes just catches him in the trouble funnel. Meanwhile, here comes Adapting, trying to cause some trouble, but it's no numbers taking care of him. 1, 2, and 4 for the jungler on Energy.
Yet again, another situation where Adapting needed one more tick of that poison to find the kill. Dardes walking away cleanly, and Elevate get another objective. They get the Portal Demon on the right-hand side, but left side, Amelito left alone to farm, getting this tier 1 tower.
Such a problem to really allow these hunters to do what they want and free farm like that. Amelito, Jermaine, both of these guys level 16, but the ability that Amelito has to take out that tower simply because nobody's I don't want to say nobody's paying attention, but nobody can afford to expend the resources to pay it to go to that left side of the map. I mean, you just get that for free.
There's always a fine line as a hunter of whether or not you should even be going for a tier 1 tower. The way the Smite meta has evolved, if you're trying to go for even 20% tower damage, you're going to get instantly rotated on. And that's why the fear for all these hunters is like, well, I'd rather just go farm back harpies than try to get this tower, honestly. It's not worth dying at the 17.5 minute mark. If you're overextending for 500 gold, well, guess what? You're probably going to die with all these rotations and semi-global pressures with the ROM here, and then they're going to get a tier 1 of their own.
But that's the key. I mean, Emilito knew just how safe he was, able to walk up the lane, take care of Elevate's tier 1 tower. So no harm, no foul. Meanwhile, right side, a little bit of a grouping from NRG. You can see adapting, looking maybe for the play, but coming in more of a defensive way than the aggressive behind the enemy positioning.
Picking into the Circuit for adapting was very interesting, considering that the Nemesis was still open here. And the way I look at Circuit and Nemesis against such tanky compositions is you're basically an ult bot, right? You're trying to get somebody and blow them up, no matter what it is. But as a level 14 Circuit, look at his options currently. Level 16 Xing Chen on no numbers, who's getting up there. Stone of Gaia for the regen, having Height of Urchin for both physical and magical defense. Then you got Cherio playing this Kabrakan, who has a passive aura that says, you're not going to do 100% damage to me or my teammate. Then you got Dardas playing this Nox that's building kind of tanky, not too much. That also has a way of stopping you from doing damage. There's not too many good options for adapting.
I mean, that's a... I'm going to disagree with you here, Tully. Dardas is a very tanky build. Shogun's Kursari into the Breastplate of Valor?
The problem is for Dardas is that he doesn't have health, and adapting's ultimate is just going to... It doesn't matter how much protections you have. That ultimate is going to do true damage, exactly. So you're going to be melting this Nox support. So as long as she's a little bit isolated from her teammates, not able to dash into safety, that could be maybe the only target, because even Jermaine can go into the sky, buy some time.
Sure.
Death Panther can easily jump over a wall. So,
couple of options.
Yeah.
Couple options. I like that so far. Elevate and NRG able to tie themselves up as far as the kills are concerned. The gold also relatively close. Elevate leading by about 800 gold here, just shy of 20 minutes in. And right now, I would say the momentum is split down the middle.
I would have to agree with you. NRG, they built tanky when they were ahead against Trifecta. This time around, they're not ahead. The damage from adapting is a little bit in the middle of the pack. He can't really find what he wants to, what he's normally used to doing, so he has to be more patient. Maybe allow Elevate to be the ones to try to go for the engagements first.
And really, I mean, that when you think about that, it's about how well can you counter-engage. And I think they have the tools to really handle it, but do they want to?
Oracle is going to go the way of Elevate as NRG, going to secure their own red buff. Emilito is going to back to base here. Portal Demon respawning shortly after Gold Fury. 20 more seconds on that objective on the left, and then about another minute on the one on the right.
So right now, as Elevate look to really snatch this one away from NRG, I think that they have to look towards the on her and make moves relatively soon. He's going to be outclassed by the enemy mid-mage, I think, as the game gets later and later. So right now, Death Panther level 16. He's got his Impale maximized and able to really make an impact. Right now is kind of what I want to see this type of thing happen. Just a raw fight on Gold Fury. That's what we're going to get.
Nice. Engaged by Rafford, disarming the hunters there. Cherio's going to stun out the little dwarf. Adapting's blinking in, but a nice disengage from Elevate's backline. And this is what they do so well with their composition. They just kite you.
The damage on a Death Panther right down Broadway. Rafford lines up and gets put in the ground. There's a little help from Cherio, but up goes Jermaine. One shot, three shot. The second one won't hit. But Emilito brought down relatively low. No numbers, finds a little damage as well. But trouble, Death Panther, he gets traded out. Yaman with the solo.
So 1 for 1, but it's a hunter for a guardian. Jermaine now needs to try to walk away, but he can't. His ult's down, his dash is down, and so is his life.
Yaman picks up 2. Yaman picks up 3. Everybody doing a great job, but the mid laner for NRG Esports, 4-1-4. Doing such a fantastic job getting the Gold Fury will be NRG. And they quickly find themselves up just underneath 2,000 gold.
Elevate doing a good job of baiting energy in a sticky situation there. Around that little corridor between purple and red buff, that previous fight around the Gold Fury, they did the same exact theme of where they lured energy down Broadway, like you said, and then just avoiding a lot of these skill shots from energy, turning the tables back at the champions. They found the pick onto Raffer, but then they got a little bit too overzealous. The wall from Cherio prevented Dardis' ult from going even further, and then No Numbers flanking in the backhand side. The ultimate from Jermaine was a little too premature.
Fire Giant here, 25%. It's just Cherio and Dardis. Energy look to turn around and look at these players instead. Emilito's low, but it doesn't matter. He's able to deal the killing blow on top of Cherio. And that's still enough for Energy to be chased off of the Fire Giant. Dardis tosses an ult. Cherio dies, but again, like I said, the objective is still alive.
A necessary death from Cherio, preventing this Fire Giant. Had that occur, now Energy can just run wild in the silence, getting the towers. Maniac gonna get flung under that tier 1 tower, rooted under the silence, left alone by himself on the right side. Uncharacteristic.
Very similar to the death we saw Cherio take before. Not just now, but way earlier in the beginning, the one that I said was okay.
Yes.
Just kind of out of position, not where you want to be. But the death of Maniac with Cherio still dead, again, Elevate, what are they going to get out of that?
Well, there's 30-second difference here. Maniac still dead for 25. Cherio has officially respawned. Gold Fury not up, neither is Portal Demon. But with these two Hunters, Death Panther on her, Jermaine on Rom, their late game presence is in effect. Shogun's Kusari from Dardas even being able to amplify the attack speed.
Not enough to take care of Fire, I think.
We'll see. I think they're going to try it.
They will. They're definitely going to try it. Maniac has respawned in about 5 seconds. Fire Giant being taunted at.
Man, they didn't see that adapting was on the left side of the map. There's only one sentry, and that's from NRG Esports side of things. If they knew adapting was on the left, surely Elevate would try to go for the Fire Giant, because it would have been a technical 5-on-3 with adapting on left and Maniac respawning. But now with Maniac here, this is the time that Elevate wants to pull the trigger instead.
Oh, well. Better late than never, I suppose, although I don't think that applies here. I think you want to go when you have the power play. Raffer almost becomes part of it, half HP.
Look at Yaman trying to be a sneaky Raijin on the side, dealing a lot of damage to Death Panther. He goes and he bangs the drums, so doing a lot of damage, adapting in the backline as well.
But the Aegis saves the life of the mid laner. Death Panther trying to dance, dodge, weave, and he does so successfully. Can't say the same about Cherio. Raffer takes care of the jungler, and Emilito takes care of the hunter. Death Panther just barely escaping. Will head to base and come right on back to defend the Fire Giant. But good news for Elevate and their friends, Toli. A couple of members from NRG have to back as well.
This is why controlling the vision around those right side mid harpies, top and bottom, is so important in all your Smite games. NRG having Sentry on both the top and bottom allows Yaman to go that aggressive, just positioning himself. That's why even some teams, if they don't have the Sentry vision between the top and bottom, they'll just stick a regular ward in between, because that's a crucial little location here. There's so much range for Yaman on this Raijin to be able to abuse that location.
Fire Giant started, and the taunt is good. No Numbers can't get in there. Energy just pick up the Fire Giant in the face of Elevate. Death Panther gets controlled by Maniac, and adapting that keeps him out of the conversation. No Numbers gets controlled by, well, everybody else, and that keeps him out of the conversation. And Energy talk amongst themselves, pick up a dozen kills, and they get the Fire Giant well up 3K.
Elevate are starting to look like they're crumbling under themselves. The call to go for Fire Giant with all 5 NRG members, a little questionable. They had a full 30 seconds before Maniac would respawn. Why not go for at least a 5-on-4? Had they made that call, it would have been a 5-on-3 because adapting was on the left side of the map.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. I think NRG definitely could have played a little bit more, or excuse me, I think Elevate could have played a little bit more aggressive when they had the opportunity.
A slight lapse of judgment, allowing NRG now to get the ball in their courts. They're getting the towers that they want. All the towers in the soul lane stripped off the map. They're getting all the tier 1s as well, going for the Gold Fury before wanting to commit to additional towers.
Just every little piece is what NRG is looking for. Don't forget, last game we called it very clean. They picked up all of the objectives. They picked up all of the things they needed to. This game, a little bit less clean because Elevate has been able to fight back. But as far as the objective control and the objective secure, NRG looks fantastic.
It's almost impossible to play clean against Elevate, to be fair. The way they engage...
No, it's not a knock at all.
The way they engage with Cherio blinking in as Cabrakan, he's either going to die or he's going to find some kills in return. And he's just going to walk away with the walrus hands anyway, baiting NRG in a sticky situation.
I thought you came at people with the walrus hands.
I mean, you can do the same thing, though, because you're just walking away.
You just coming right at them.
As you're swinging and running away from them, you're using the just...
You're just going.
You're just going, and you're winding.
And you're trying to grab them. Cherio was doing that before. Right now, just walking up regularly. Yeah, the walrus hands absolutely.
It creates so much wind that it just allows you to run even faster.
That is a lie.
It's true.
No, that's a lie.
Watch Cherio next time he throws out those hands.
Actually, it does give movement speed, doesn't it?
Yes.
It actually does. Damn it. Right now, the Portal Demon being aggressed on by NRG. No contest there. Easy peasy. Almost 10,000 gold in the lead here. NRG commanding a 7K, or excuse me, an 8,000 gold lead. Raffer and Emilito have the red buff. Haha to Fafnir having the red buff. But NRG Esports coming down the middle lane. Fire Giant buff in tow. Who's going to play defense on tier 2?
It's going to be very important to try to stop this or delay it, but that tower has no life remaining. Elevate going to back off. I like what Dardas did before the tower siege, though. Procking that Mad Guy's Blessing on Raffer with just a silence. It doesn't matter if you hit it or if it detonates and does the damage. You just need them to walk over it to get the Mad Guy's proc. So that's 40 more seconds that the little dwarf won't have it for before maybe Elevate can lock him down now.
Well, we'll see, but right now with the destruction of these towers, that brings NRG into 5-digit territory. 10,000 gold in the lead plus.
Now wanting to back off. Their Fire Giant is expiring in 40 seconds. Looking at the buff situation, no buffs are spawning anytime soon. So I think NRG are very content with what they got with the Fire Giant thus far. They don't want to overextend with the Phoenixes. If they do that and they die, now it's Elevate that has enough of a window with the respawn timers to maybe get something back in their end.
Exactly. NRG very cognizant of the different timers on the map, and the Fire Giant after a team fight and a deicide will be available. It's available in about 1 minute and 10 seconds. Fire Giant for NG falling off in 10 seconds, obviously. So because of that, NRG probably going to play it safe. I don't know if they wait all the way for the Fire Giant, but they are absolutely going to back off here.
And they're also going to use this time to ward aggressively, trying to position themselves, maybe even catch Elevate slipping, whoever is going to be across the map. We're seeing Elevate group up on the right side. On the left, though, it's NRG that knows that the red buff from Elevate is spawning, and they're going to strip this one away, or maybe even wait.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to wait.
I thought they were going to wait.
And maybe catch someone.
Set up an ambush here.
I do that all the time. Every time around Fire Giant, let's say we get in the middle Phoenix.
Right.
We can't siege it quite yet. All right, let's go to Fire Giant. Let's go hide around this corner. VVVA.
Yeah, right around by the speed buff. Everybody just kind of piles up and
that's right.
And hides behind.
Use the corner.
And they're just like, ha-ha.
Boom. Surprise.
Jumps out.
Right around the corner. That's
the beauty. And again, you know, I love this game so much. And part of it is because you can do that. You can literally hide behind, you can hide in the cut, and somebody walks by and you just show up and you're like, bam! And they're like, ow, my gut, you have stuck a knife in me. I am bleeding out. My intestines are on the floor. What have you done to me? Little real?
No, that's a little too real. Yeah.
It's Loki.
Even for me.
I play Loki.
Loki stabs you in the back, not in the gut.
Well, you know, the gut's where you got to go for it. That's the real gut shot. That's what NRG's looking for right here. Looking for the gut shot. Looking for a storm of plays right now in order to just cap it off with a Fire Giant and a single push. 31-17 on the clock. 7-12. NRG leading in all relevant categories. 75,000 gold in total for them.
NRG, they're in complete control of this game, and Elevate know it, but they're still not giving this up quite yet. They know that they've been successful in some of these team fights. They can replicate it here, even 31.5 minutes in. NRG now pulling the Fire Giant, sitting at about half health.
Look at Maniac zone. Look at him zone. Just by him, zone by himself. Yaman tosses out the Raiju. Emilito gets the message. Time to fight. Adapting brought down to half HP. Hell of Arrow's going to miss, but zone out again. And the reset one more time.
Adapting, blinked in, and then he forced to use his beats to get on out of there. That's 2 important relics not available, but now Cherio going in, connects it onto Yam, and the rest of Elevate trying to follow up.
And the stun in the wall, Yaman separated from everybody. Dardes tosses one out by himself, but Yaman banging on the solo. Cherio down to about 10% HP. The solo brings him solo. Yaman goes down. Cherio says goodbye. One more time, no numbers. There's the reprise. Adapting takes him down. Left-hand side, keep an eye on Jermaine. He's doing a lot of damage. Yaman very low.
He's still here.
Aggressing, looking for Death Panther. Maniac zoning one more time. NRG have to reset. They're relatively low, but they did get 2 for none.
No fear from the Season 2 MVP, Yaman, keeping himself alive with that Aegis Amulet, preventing Jermaine Snipe from sealing his fate, but still confident enough that he would use his range and around the corner shots to be able to make an impact in this team fight. Now NRG with a 5-on-3 advantage. Go for this Fire Giant, and I don't think Elevate want to go anywhere near this one.
Dardes thought about it. He said, I have the ultimate. I'm hiding around the corner. I might be able to show up, but thought better of it, and I think that's the right call. Instead, walks away, allowing NRG to pick up the Big Daddy. And the Portal team is going to go down as well. Just a little cherry on top. And Emilito's going to go eat dessert back at Fountain.
It seems that Elevate strategy has finally been cracked, at least in group play. They lost to Obey Alliance in the semifinals, going 2-3, going the distance, straying away from their main strategy in games 4 and 5. We don't talk about the Scylla here. And then NRG now still fighting the traditional Elevate's composition and showing the holes a little bit, being able to just go in and out, bait Elevate in weird situations.
Real talk, I don't think that Elevate's strategy has been toppled. I think that the selection of Nox is different enough to make this a little bit of a deviation. Not a complete deviation, obviously. You've got 2 Guardians, 2 Hunters, and a Nox, which is building tanky. But also, NRG are not... They didn't win this with their brains. They won this with their brawn. NRG just beat the hell out of Elevate. Like, they just played better. And that's not a bad thing. That's not calling them... It's not an illegitimate victory by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think NRG outsmarted the competition. I think they just mechanically beat Elevate up.
I mean, sure. Whenever NRG plays against almost anybody, they just hit their buttons a little bit better than the opposition.
Not in Season 4.
At least not in online Season 4.
This weekend, absolutely.
But this time around, I think that their opening was pretty good, though. Being able to proxy against no numbers, making sure that he wasn't going to feel comfortable, stripping away some of the buffs there on the early game, not allowing Xing Chen to really make the rotations that he wanted to in the mid portion of the game, and now NRG controlling it. So many Mad Guy's Blessing just got popped by Dardes as one silence.
NRG still relatively comfortable.
3 Mad Guys got popped from that one ability.
I don't think they care. The jump on in comes anyway. Death Panther's ultimate just completely wasted. Here's trouble for Cherio as he finds himself down to 10%. And again, Yaman, the big drum meister, just making it happen. Call him Dave Grohl, #1 on damage on his team. That's the doubloon for him. Number 16 for NRG, 2 for none. And NRG going to move over to the mid lane Phoenix. Easy as Sunday morning.
No fear whatsoever. Getting the left side, Phoenix adapting when in. He assisted Yaman on his double kill. Rappers going in as well, zoning away Elevate as the second Phoenix falls. NRG are one more Phoenix away before they siege this Titan.
I like this move. I think it's very easy to go ahead and get ahead of yourself and just say, you know what? We don't need the Phoenixes. We can just play it safe. We can just play it easy. But NRG have come all this way, and they know that they have to go back to the fundamentals. And they're going to look for the pure
juke's not
win.
enough. Jermaine connecting onto Maniac. It's not going to matter. NRG go up.